Well, hello there folks, welcome to another Train Sim Classic video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a enhancement pack, or an enhancement pack to be grammatically correct, for the Coaster enhancement pack by creators UTS, and a long time in the making, and it is shaped up to be one absolute hell of a pack. A lot of people were involved with this thing, and there's a lot of content that's changed and updated and new involved in this thing as well. But first, we're going to do a little spielage, just in case, peeps that may not know about Coaster and, San Diego ops and all that good stuff. We are currently at Stuart Mesa, which is kind of the home, if you will, of the Coaster rolling stock north of San Diego. Basically the tippy top of the line of where these things run, but this is where they catch some shut-eye and some maintenance and all that good stuff. This, of course, is on the old and very crusty Pacific Surfliner, sadly, in its very original state. There was like 15 and a half groups that were attempting to make about 17.8 million Pacific Surfliner route enhancements, but none of those have ever come to fruition. Sadly, this place badly needs it, especially now that we have got these beauties here in front of us. But so reporting marks are NCTC, I think, and SDNX is what Coaster used to go by, and it's basically the commuter railroad for central and northern San Diego, which is a city in very southern California, almost in Mexico. They are operated by North County Transit District. It is a 41-mile line with 8 stops between Oceanside and San Diego. We're just north of Oceanside here. And runs mainly during rush hour periods, but also limited use during midday, weekends, holidays, things like that. It has changed over the last few years, with the whole Rona and all that thing, but I think it's picking back up a little bit. But it first served in 1995, operated by Amtrak, Transit America, Bombardier, and Alstom. The operational speed of these things is 90 mile an hour peak, and the average speed is about 40 because there are some twisty and hilly sections down closer to San Diego. There's an average of about 20 trains on weekdays, I think, and a little bit less during the weekend, but there's also connectors and connections with Amtrak, Pacific Surfliner, and Oceanside, and San Diego, with there's various light rail down there and buses and things like that as well. But the rolling stock consisted of the EMD F40 PHM2C, the F59 PHI, the SC44 Charger, and Bombardier bi-level coaches. There's 2 main storage yards, so this one here, we're at Stuart Mesa, and then there's Camp Pendleton, which is in Oceanside, stored overnight, maintained, things like that. And also in, I think, a little bit south of San Diego downtown, in a little trolley yard or light rail yard, where they do midday storage and staging in between rush hour and stuff like that. And so the power of the pack that comes within this pack, which I should have noted in the very beginning, the only thing you're going to need is the old F59 pack. That's it. Of course, it is not Coaster labeled by default. That's the glory of modding and Railworks as a whole. But the engine, or the power for this enhancement pack, is, of course, this beautiful bastard here, the EMD F59 PHI, which, of course, the inside, looking out the front, has always reminded me of, I don't know, something like an aircraft or space shuttle or something like that. They're pretty cool. But Coaster initially purchased 2 of these units in 2001, numbering 3001, which you see here in front of us, and number 3002. Later in 2021, for increased operations, they kind of pulled them back out, or they stored them. They stored them, then they pulled them back out. I don't know. It's, up and down, busy, all that good stuff. But they're likely to retire completely this year, 2023, of course. They were produced between 1994 and 2001. It's basically a variant of the F59PH, but it's streamlined for Amtrak California, so that's why the front and some of the sideboards and all that look different as well. There were 83 of these built total, not for coaster, obviously, and it had a very whomping Chungus EMD 12710 G3C EC prime mover, and it was geared for about 110 mile an hour at 3,200 horsepower. Now, the bi-level cab cars and coaches are, of course, Bombardier, and there are some differences between them, quite a few variations. I'm likely to get them wrong. There's basically old and new, and then some of the new have some newer, more modern bits as well. But they're built in 1994. The 2301 series through 2308 had the stripes, which you see here on the right hand side, which are the most beautimous, and they're due to be overhauled in 2026, so they should look different, IRL of course, by 2026. There were also the 2309 through 2310, which were built in 2003, which were overhauled, and then there were some built in 2020, which the numbers are or were to be determined, or I don't know. I guess I don't know. Have they been delivered? I don't know. I think delivery was expected of the new ones in 2022, but I honestly don't know. I know some West Coast farmers probably chomping at the bit. Yeah, we already got those. You know, I don't. I'm still mainly a freight guy through and through, first and foremost. So I'm not going to know little tiny intricacies as such, but there should be some new ones. Now, the bi-level coaches overall, some were built in 1994, which numbered 2201 to 2208, which is due for current overhaul. And then there were some built in 1997, which is 2401 to 2406, which were indeed overhauled. And then some were built in 2003, which is 2501 to 2504, which is current overhaul. And then there's the 2020 TBD 2022 delivery. I don't know if the new ones have been delivered or not yet. Of course, as always, if you do know, let me know in the comments down below. That would be much appreciated. So this is very much worth noting. The gang at UTS have created, as they typically like to do with a lot of their enhancement packs, mod packs, things of that nature, a very nice, definite time well spent on made manual and installation instructions. Read them. If you have any questions installing this thing, read this manual, just to save yourself some time and some heartache before maybe asking the guys themselves at UTS, because it's very much most likely contained within this manual. Read the manual. As usual, it's here for a purpose. This is version 1, released on the 10th, which is today, March 10th, 2023. UTS, there's a forward talking about, you know, you probably really shouldn't try to use 32-bit. It does not really support that. It does not really support rail drivers, simple controls, F5 HUD, Xbox controllers, all that good stuff. So this stuff may or may not work. So, you know, only you're responsible for that if you choose to do whatever that is. They've got their contact information right here in case you do have a question that does not pertain to what's in this manual. Again, please read the manual. It'll most likely cover just about everything. But something else that's very nice about this pack, and a first time for UTS, is there is an executable or an installer within this pack, so you have to do nothing. What you're going to want to do is, once you download the pack, pull the executable out of the zip onto your desktop, right click and click Run as Administrator. Then you select Yes. It will ask you where you would like to install it. It'll typically find your Railworks directory automatically. You're going to want to go ahead and click OK, and it'll literally install in a couple of seconds, and you're done. That is it. No dragging and dropping files, no running batch files, none of that. EXE, one and done, wham bam, thank you ma'am, all that good stuff. But anyway, So not only that, but it's got all the different types of paints you'll see in here with different headlights, which of course we'll go over here in a minute. Just wanted to go over this very nicely put together manual. It's got all your keybinds, everything you need to know, all the information, all the things that were done to this pack, in which there are many. There's so many. I'm not going to go over what all there is, or again, it'd be a 2-hour video, and I know everybody loves 2-hour videos about Train Sim Classic. I'm going to try and keep this as short and sweet as possible. And of course, the contributors to the pack, in which there are many, and with good reason, because it's a very, very nice pack. Right, so let's go ahead and take a look. So I've got a couple of things set up here. Yes, I know some of you West Coast foamers are probably like, what the hell? The engines don't face San Diego. I get it. I just set it up, you know, for a look, essentially. So typically how these run is they are engine forward north and cab car south. And I had to ask about that because I didn't know that either several months ago when the guys were working on this. So I've got just a couple laid out here. I've got the older variant here to the right, which is, gosh, I'm going to forget it, SNDX, SNTX or something like that, which most notably has the stripes. Now there's differences as well as far as what the number range will be, of course, and what's really cool about this pack is the heads and marker lights. Those will change as well. So depending on what number you put in the cab car in the editor will determine whether or not you've got light emitting diode, new age headlight bulbs or markers, or just standard old school halogen bulbs. So the one on the right here, the one we're looking at, is old school halogen. You can tell by the markers there. It'll have the halogen headlights as well. This one here in the middle, this of course is the newer paint job, as you can see here, which, you know, I'm not knocking the textures of this thing, not in any regard at all, but I most definitely like the way the older one looks, along with the original locomotives here as well. But this is the newer one. This is going to have the LED, so you can kind of tell the difference between the halogen on the right and the LED marker on the left, and the headlights change as well, and these sons of bitches are bright. They're bright, but they look good, unlike, say, DTM bright headlights, for example, just as an example, of course. Between all the units, between the cab cars and the locomotives, there are 6 different horns and 3 different bells, steel bell and Grand White E-bell as well. You can, of course, run the locomotive in the locomotive, and then, of course, the cab car as well. So, geez, I don't know what to start with. We'll go ahead and look at the old one here. They have revamped the textures, the bulbs, the way the headlights look, the marker lights, all that in and out. We've got new Type F and Type H couplers where applicable. New numbers, new number boards, which they do look fantastic as well. We'll of course go over all the light emitting bits. The riveted bodies, so these are the riveted old school ones here, which look very nice. And then you've got just the standard, where are they at? Here we go. This is a standard welded one right here. This, of course, is a coach and not the cab car. And then this one here has got some of the rivets as well. So there are a bunch of slight differences within this pack, which look very, very nice, of course. And then the coaster logo. I'll try and get a better look at it here, which does look very, very crispy and correct, as does the paint. The colors on the paint just look very, very nice. Just, you know, subtle where it should be and kind of popping where it should. The grab irons and steps on the side of that nice bright safety yellow. Markers and decals where applicable as well, which is always very nice. And then you've got the door indicators up here as well, which do work. So if you've got a door open, the brakes will be applied and all that good stuff. And what is it, like 10 mile an hour or higher, I think they extinguish. So they will let you know what's what and all that good stuff. But the exterior have received a major overhaul, and they look very good. It's of course good to look at the top here as well. Got a nice animated fan there. The strobes, when they are illuminated, are dynamic as well, so they will not always be one-to-one correct. We'll look at the top of the newer one here. I didn't mean one-to-one correct. They won't be one-to-one, one-to-one. Yeah, just forget I said anything. The strobes change. We'll just leave it at that. That's easier. This is the new one here, a bit darker. It does look a bit more modern. This cab car here does have the riveted bits as well, and not completely welded body. This, of course, is the new one, 2306, so it's got the LED heads and markers. And again, the logo looks very nice. It looks totally different than the old one here, so it actually says North County Transit District. And this one just says Coaster, the coaster with the moster. And they just look damn good. They really do. Numbers look correct, and that's where they should be. A lot of updated textures on the outside, as well as glass. The glass have received some texture upgrades as well. And yeah, it's a good looking pack. Definitely a good looking pack. The locomotive here, or the power for the set, has of course received a freshening up as well. And you can certainly tell this coaster set has received a couple enhancements over the years, but this one is like a culmination. I tried to say both words at the same time. It doesn't work. This is a culmination of all of that stuff in one pack, and it's just very, very nice. The locomotive has definitely got some grime all over it. The paint and colors have been touched up as well. And it can't be that easy to do with locomotives like this that have these funky angles. I can only imagine how difficult it is to get some of these angles and these lines correct on some of the stuff. The safety striping on the nose here looks pretty damn spot on right in the middle. The lettering as well, how there's a slight kind of curve from end to end. The numbering looks very nice as well. Very, very good. It's just a cool locomotive. This old livery here that they had, just it's classic. It is absolutely classic. It looks really damn good. And then of course I've just got some random stuff set up here. So something else you can do that's pretty cool is, so when you place down a train, it'll be in its default running state, but the one I have on the left I have placed in a cold and dark state, which you can start up and shut down. To do that, what you'll need to do is when you place it in the editor, you'll literally just need to hit the fly out on the right hand side next to the number of the cab car or locomotive, and hit a space bar and then type cold. Hit enter, you're done. Then it's cold and dark. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Alright, so we are in the cab of the locomotive, and it might kind of be hard to hear because I do have a running consist off to the left there. As you saw just a moment ago, you can hear the fans, HVAC, all that stuff from the cars next to us running. So when you do a cold start, you're going to see down on the HUD, I don't know if you can see that very well or not. I'll lift it up here. 0 RPM, 0 amps, all that good stuff. I do have it in forward like a dingus. Let me go ahead and bring that back there. Something else I'd like to note is they have scripted new animations for the auto brakes, the throttle, and all that good stuff. Those are completely new. They freshened up the cab interiors, the coach interiors as well, which of course we will go over. There's a lot to look at with this pack. There really is. And of course, the radio, which is a very cool feature with this pack. I've always kind of liked the radios in Train Sim. You know, they're neat. They just add a bit more to the simulation, you know, while you're sitting there. But, you know, if it's an extreme chatterbox, you know, just going nonstop, yes, I get it. It gets kind of old. Like, you know, old Foreman Dan Hernandez, of course. The one and only. So to do the... Let's see. Let me look at the manual here. So to do the radio, they have it set up, I think, just like typical radio. Let's see. Just want to make sure I get this right here. Yeah, so that, of course, is the Motorola Spectra cab radio, and it's a very nice looking radio model as well. Looks very crispy, very sharp. Looks like something you should see in this day and age, honestly. This looks very nice. I mean, looking at it compared to the rest of the cab when this thing was made is, you know, it'd be lovely if the whole thing looked like that. But, you know, that's another day. You know, who knows. But anyway, we're going to look at the radio. So you set it up by hitting tone. You can basically put in any number you want. And then you hit, let's see, I think just the channel, and then you put in the channel. So you got 2 channels here. You've got 0909 for San Diego sub PBX, or 3030 for San Diego sub road channel. So we'll of course do the PBX, and that is 0909. 0909. And that's it. There you go. We got a little chatter. We got some chatty Cathys going on here. So I'm going to look over and get the manual back open, get my controls.
D6, okay to get on.
Roger, D6.
And these are legit as well. Obviously, they sound very, very good. They could be these dudes over here on these GP38s chatting, but then again, they don't look like they're doing shit, honestly. Ah, the life of a railroader while you're waiting. Hurry up and wait. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. So the first thing you're going to want to do is turn on the battery, which is Control B. You can see in the top right-hand corner, it says battery. You can, of course, turn the volume up and down. We're just going to turn that down a little tiny bit. That, of course, is clicking up and down on the radio here. And it does work. So if you don't want to hear them chatting for a hot minute, just do that. So Control B turns on the battery. We're going to start the engine up with Control Y. Woo, that's a bad bitch. That sounds lovely. In fact, might be a bit too loud, so I'm going to turn that down on the recording here. Get it out of the orange zone into the green zone. Alright, she's fired up. We're going to go ahead and get the head-in power on, so that controls, obviously, the coaches and cab car when necessary. So you're going to hit P. It'll tell you HEP is now on. We're going to set the isolation to run, so it's currently in start, stop, isolate. You're going to hit I, throw it into run, and there you go. Step 5 is go. And these, of course, a lot of these are a lot of all new sounds, along with the 710 pack from Searchlight Simulations. So it's been tweaked here and there and everywhere. So we're going to take this thing down the road a bit. Of course, facing the wrong directions, because engines don't go south, ideally. But something else that's pretty neat is they did the virtual windows. So you click on the window, and it'll open the window and tell you in the top right-hand corner, and the sound will actually change once you get moving. And both sides this works on as well. So the windows don't physically move or animate, but it's virtual, and the sound changes. So we'll go ahead and throw it forwards. Just check our switches out of here. You can hear the high idle. That's something else that they have scripted in that's new as well to this locomotive and this pack. Low and high idle. They've done some custom physics, everything. There is a lot that has gone into this pack. Like I said, I probably won't be able to cover everything. This might be the most comprehensive pack they've done thus far, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the auto brake. Now, something else that's neat about this pack is you have to bail off the Indy, or the independent brake. To do that, you're going to hold return or enter on your keyboard, and then select the desired release with the independent key on your keyboard. And while the bail off will not be animated, it will happen. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We're going to hold down enter. Release. Should already be released. Alright, let me double check that. Alright, so there's the Indy. Okay, so that is animated. That is a new animation as well, but if you hold return or enter and then release, it should bail it off. if it starts grabbing air. There is a delay on throttling up as well, an amperage, which is nice. It does not take off like a slot car, like a lot of very crummy payware we see nowadays on the Steam store that essentially should be free. This is different. Give it another notch. Now, of course, head-end power is on. So with head-end power passenger locomotives, the sound typically does not change that much. We'll go ahead and hit the bell, which you can't really hear interior-wise. We'll go outside. You can see the strobes flashing. That bell sounds very crispy and fresh. What I did do, like a massive dingus, though, is leave the markers on. So we'll go ahead and display that now. I believe it's Control M. And see how they slowly fade out? Prototypical. Very lovely. Let's get those heads on. That's low, medium. See how they kind of flickered? Very nice. And high. And something else with this pack, like they did with the AC44 packs, is they've got the flares. Those very cool kind of old VHS style flares. You don't really see them until you're fairly far away. So we'll go ahead and pause it right there. And up on it, you don't see it. But the more you move back, the more you see them. And I was never, honestly, never a fan of flares on any North American stuff, ever. Until these. These look pretty damn good. They look pretty damn good. Something else that's pretty neat about these, let me go ahead and return the speed here. Looking on the front is you can do shadow casting headlights. So I want to say that's Control-Shift-L. There you go. Light casting. If you want lights, it's nighttime, whatever the hell, or you just like having them on, Control-Shift-L will toggle them off and on, which is very cool. There's the alerter going off. That's a good time to go ahead and go over that. So Q resets the alerter. If you just want to mess around and don't want to get caught out by the alerter, hit Control-Q, and that should toggle it off and on. There it is now. It's disabled, and now it's re-enabled. Typically, it'll go off after 60 seconds. After that happens, you'll see down on your heads-up display or your HUD the alert logo, the black and yellow stripes or yellow jacket. That'll happen first. Another several seconds will go by. You'll hear the audible tone. If you don't react within the time that the audible tone starts, you will be PCS braked. And I will display that here, and we'll go ahead and reset it as well. But first, let's go ahead and haul some booty. I don't want to do too much in the engine here because we need to get the cab car as well, which is what I'm really looking forward to here. So we'll go ahead and get this thing in run 8. We'll check the horn out in this Betty. That sounds pretty nice. It's kind of got that interior reverb, like some of the panels are rattling and all that good stuff. I mean, the inside of these things are pretty damn loud anyways. There's the window open. There's a slight audible difference as well. Not so much with the horn. You see the ditch lights flashing and the strobes up top. Now the exterior sounds pretty fire. That sounds pretty fire. The only thing about it is that little kind of pop right at the end. Alright, we'll go ahead and trip the PCS here, why don't we? I'm going to throw it in emergency. The top right hand corner, you can see that the PCS is now tripped. So if you forget your alerters on, the PCS does trip. It should reset as follows. So you're going to want to come to a complete stop, obviously. Put the throttle position to idle or neutral. I think actually it can be forwards. I'm not sure. But we'll put them both idle and neutral. After that, you're going to want to make sure the e-brake lever is down, and then put the auto brake not in emergency. So we'll drop that back some, and it should reset after 60 seconds. So I'll go ahead and stop here and we'll fast forward. Alright, there we go. I did not catch it in time, but in the top right hand corner, PCS reset. You can now see the auto and the brake cylinder doing its thing. I've got it set at 85% roughly on the HUD, and we should be able to release it. We'll go ahead and drop the auto handle. We'll hit enter and bail the Indy. And you can see that white needle drop, and you're back in business. And there you go. That's that. Alright, let's head back to the yard. Alright, we've got Old Bay on the right and New Bay on the left, and something I'd like to quickly go over. So another thing that's dynamic is the sand. So for whatever reason, autumn, rain, the off chance of snow, which apparently California saw a lot of snow this year, oddly enough, the sander is dynamic and will run out. You've got about 90 seconds of sander use. One of the ways you can check and see if you are out of sanding is the train statistics, or consist stats, or information if you will, by hitting Control and I. So we'll go ahead and click on this gal here. Get rid of that dialogue, and Control I. Bam. Consist length 120 meters. Consist type special. Weight, sand level, 100%, vehicle weight, blah, blah, blah. So, you've got all that good stuff. One of the things I want to do real quick is hop in the passenger compartment. So, this is obviously the interior of the upper Bombardier bi-level seat section. And it, too, got a freshening up. This looks really, really good compared to, if some of you recall what these things used to look like. The new fabric on here, which just looks a lot more remarkable compared to what it used to look like, and just a lot more realistic. It's also got like a weathered appeal to it, like, you know, the fabric over time has been rubbed away and all that good stuff. New flooring as well, and the windows. So the windows actually have a little bit of dirt and grime on them as well, as you can see here, which is obviously exterior. They do clean the inside of these sometimes, from what I hear, but that's obviously more on the exterior, or a kid with chocolate on his fingers, who knows. So this is what this one looks like. We'll go ahead and hop out and look in the new one over there. This is the new one. It's just been freshened up a lot. Obviously, it's sort of like a navy blue with the safety yellow stripe down the walkway and the aisle there. And again, it just looks really nice. It's been freshened up a lot, which is, you know, awesome. This is a hell of a pack. They've been working on this for a long time, and there have been many revisions in beta testing, or beta, if you will. But of course, it's got the grime on the windows as well. So let's go ahead and get back in the front of the new one. The marker lights are on. Let's go ahead and get those off. There we go, and we'll do the headlights. These are the LED headlights, and they look like LED. Very new, hot-ish looking. It's got like a blue color to them. And of course, if you back away, you've got that flare, but it seems like it's a little bit more noticeable with the LEDs compared to like the halogens, which I think is fairly prototypical. But those, of course, look very nice. We'll go ahead and hop in the cab of silence. So this, of course, is the cab car. This is the newer one, newer paint, if you will, which the interior and the textures have been freshened up a lot. I mean, shit, just look at this door over here, the top left-hand corner of the screen. That looks very nice as well. They've also done some changes in viewpoints as well. So I'm going to hit over here, and you've got the interior. You can see the walkway or the gangway here in the middle has been freshened up a lot. This looks a lot better. Some nice shading, and just grime and scuffs and scrapes and all that good stuff. This looks way mo better. And then you've got this side over here for only the specialist of foamers that are allowed to sit there, and then back in the interior as well. And I think the exterior, let's hop back in there. I think there's some changes here as well. So you got like you're standing up, finding your seat, left side, wham bam. Yes, that's nice as well. So we'll get back in here. This one's already running, but I'm going to double check everything. So let's see. We do have RPMs. Head and power is already on. Isolation, you're going to want to hit that regardless, I think. There we go. There's the click as well, which is nice. So I've got it set to run. We'll go ahead and throw it forwards. We'll throw the radio on, and we'll do the road channel this time. So we'll do. That's actually wrong. How did I do this? It's the other way around. Dingus mode. I'm used to doing it in run 8, and even though it's no different whatsoever, let me see if I can clear it up here. Can I clear it? Can I clear it? Okay, so it's set up, tone. So you got to do tone first, not your channel. This isn't going to work. Okay, maybe it will. So that's the tone, which can be any number. And then the channel, you've got a choice of 2, so we'll do 30-30 this time. And it should start. I think it's going to be a little less busy. Going to go ahead and turn that way down. The inside of this thing has got the virtual windows as well, I think. I thought it did. Maybe not. Maybe it's only the engine. I thought these had it. Maybe not. Maybe not. That's fine. Alright, let's see. So I've got all of the... let me find... Just open the controls here. Alright, so something else you can do, which is pretty neat, like the AC44, is you can actually turn off and on the traction motors individually, which I don't think you can do right now. You probably wouldn't want to since we're in the cab car, but you can do that in the F59 PHI. That is explained in the manual, but it's control 1, 2, 3, 4. You can change the road number with minus and plus. You can, of course, toggle the alerter, which I'll go over again here, so it's control Q. You can hear a nice click, big, thick, girthy clunk, which is very cool. And there's a couple of different door modes, which is neat. We'll go over that in just a second. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You can toggle the ditch lights. I think that's control F. So toggle those off and on. You can actually see the lights blink over there, which is pretty cool. We'll leave that there. What else? Control L for our gauge lights. Very nice. The gauge lights now light up. Let's see. We've got wipers with the variable wiper speed as well. It's got that nice thunk. Of course, it's not raining, so it's just dry scraping. I think it's Shift V to get rid of it. All the way. And it's Dunzo Magunzo. And Control N is the boards on the outside. There we go. Those look very nice as well. Let's see. Am I missing anything else? The markers are M, Control M. And then the rears. Let's make sure the rears are on here. They indeed are. I think if you need to change these, you can hit Control Shift M. Or Shift M. Or something like that. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you're gonna want them on if you're in the cab car. So there we go. Let's go ahead and get rid of the brakes. Bail off the Indy. Let's set our points up here. Our pointage. And we're going to go right back down out of here to Oceanside. And we're going to check out the doors. Something that was neat that was done with the doors. So we'll go ahead and cruise up there. Of course, we'll listen to this thing get to doing its business here. So there we go. It's loading up the amps. It's just got a nice, subtle acceleration off the line, which is very cool. Physics are big. I mean, yes, sounds are big and looks are big in any sim, not just train sim, but physics very much as well. There's also, like I mentioned earlier, 6 different horns and 3 different bells. I'm obviously not going to go over each and every one. It's number based on the real thing, prototypically, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll leave that up to you to go and download the thing, which of course you should be able to find the link below the information, in the information underneath the video itself, for you to go and just check all those out for yourself and figure them out and all that good stuff. You can hear some flange squealage, which is very nice, and that deep bassy clunk. I've not been on too many commuter trains. I have been in these in Orlando on the Sunrail, and they are thunky, very thunky. That sounds pretty spicy. Each point here. Once we get over the last point here, I'll go ahead and test out the horn. You can see the ditch lights still flashing there on the left. We'll just leave them on. What the hell? Why not? All right. Alright, that subbitch is pretty fire. That is a nice sounding horn. The sound itself is very nice, and it's very cleanly placed and implemented. There's no pops or cracks or anything like that I can tell, or any kind of looping. That sounds really damn good. And this isn't the only one. Like I said, this is just one of 6 different horns. It's still kind of got that pop exterior-wise, which is, you know, it's not really the end of the world. The sound itself is really nice. It'd be nice if it didn't have that pop, but it does. There's nothing I can do about it. But, you know, the sample itself sounds very nice. It, of course, sounds fantastic inside. We'll try the bell. There's your Graham White E-bell. Listen to these things run as well. Let's see, how far we got to go? Boom. There's Fall Brook. There's Oceanside. Not too far. How about we go ahead and do a run by? Very nice. Something else I'm just noticing as well is you can hear the air bleed in between the cracks on the body of the car and the windows and things like that, the seals, if you will. The little shrill sound, which, you know, if you're like in your car, for example, on the interstate, and you crack your window just a tiny bit, it's got that same kind of effect. That sounds very nice. We're getting close to Oceanside up here, which is 1.4 miles. And with that being said, reason being I'm trying to get up here to the station, is they have added a bit of fun with the actual controls of the train themselves. So it is by default set as if the conductor is running the doors and control of the train as a whole, the passenger compartment, of course. But you can actually change that. So let's see. I think you change it by hitting Control T. Let me go ahead and cut the power. We are speeding. Give us some of that blended braking. Got a crossing here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control T. And in the top right, you can see it says Engineer Controlled. And we'll go over that again a bit more here in just a second once I get over this crossing. Slowed down a bit much. Man, that sounds good. Alright, so we're getting up to the platform here. Let me check back to the manual. So the doors, like I said, they are default conductor controlled, aka automatic. You can change that by hitting Control T, which is what I've already done. Let's go ahead and apply some brake here. Alright, and the letter T should opens the doors. There we go. People are boarding and disembarking the train. Alright, so the deal with this is, so T manually opens the doors, right? And it should tell you in the top right hand corner, it says door control, please close the doors. So it tells you when to close the doors, so you don't just sit here thinking it's taking forever and ever. And all that good stuff. So we'll go ahead and close them. Yeah, they should close. I think I'm not doing this right. Yeah, Control T toggles doors. T, manual doors open. You received the notification to close them with Shift T. So yeah, they should close. So let's make sure. There we go. There's Shift T. And something else that's nice, I don't know if it's going to pick it up because this isn't like a scenario and I just kind of stopped randomly, is one of the things that'll happen is if you leave it on automatic, you'll actually hear the buzzer. Which is that. So if it's conductor controlled and he's opening and closing the doors, it will let you know it is scripted when the doors are done and closed and you can take off. So of course the conductor will go and you as the engineer and control the train, cab car, engine. I think it's just cab car, not the engine. We'll right back to let them know that it's safe to go. But I kind of want to keep this one short and sweet. There is a lot involved with this pack. I didn't really scratch the surface of all of it, hardly at all. I'll leave that up to you to go and find out for yourself. This pack is very much worth the hard drive space as far as I can tell. And it's just a damn good pack. And it's something nice to finally run on the West Coast. Yes, Pacific Surfliner is old and extremely crusty. But who knows, maybe that'll change one day. I mean, the biggest thing are the tracks. The tracks look like not that great. But that is the Coaster Enhancement Pack from UTS Creations. And you should be able to go and pick it up now, if not very, very, very soon, which will be linked below underneath the video. As always, thank you very much for watching, guys. And UTS, thank you for letting me take a look at this very nicely made pack. But that's it, guys. Take care out there. I'll see you next time.